Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so I'm orchestrating
Who
this
was the
circle.
group leader tonight? Are you
I
on,
am.
Alan?
I
Okay.
am. Yeah. And so let's go ahead and begin to discuss you guys so we can discuss the I'm sorry, the health literacy communication model. Specifically, we need to talk about what that model is and why it's important. Did anybody care to share their thoughts on that?
Health literacy is just. Sorry, I'm trying to text my kids. My papers are in the other room, so I'm trying to get them to bring them to me. For us, it's the knowledge that we have about healthcare and the system and everything and how it works, so that we can be better advocates for ourselves.
Amen.
Done. That's what health literacy is.
I mean, I also think that it's important just because if we have a health problem or health issue, it's important to know how we can communicate that with others, or like for them to communicate it to us. Like if we have a disease, like we want to know what it is, and they have to be good at telling us that and explaining it in a way that we'll understand.
Yeah, I think the lack of health literacy can definitely be a huge barrier, and the issue of be the cause of the issue of many health issues.
You know, I like to add a little bit. You know, it does create a barrier, and I think that we kind of, as health promotion specialists, we need to be able to think about how we learn the gospel, and we're counseled that we learn the gospel line upon line and precept upon precept, and so we have to be able to gauge what their level of learning is, and we have to be able to basically provide that avenue for that learning.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought was interesting about this is reading over like the overview of what it was. I'm just like, oh, so this basically is communication in the healthcare system, is all that this was. And I understood it as it's just the communication in the healthcare system, communicating what's going on, what you as a person are going through, what they as a health educator go like. That's what I got. It's just the basis of communication.
Absolutely, I completely agree, Bryce. And yeah, they're applying this to some avenue of health education, but we all have a greater understanding that we can apply this to many facets of our lives. All right.
I felt like this was an easy read this week.
Yeah, it was.
Everything about this was easy.
It was a little long, but it was an easy read. Okay, so what about the Shannon Weaver models, the 7 key point components? Did anybody want to care to lead off with what they feel about that?
Yeah, so I have it pulled up here.
Cool.
So the 7 components, that includes like the sender, encoding, those ones, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So it's 1 is sender, 2 is encoding, 3 is message, 4 is channel, 5 is decoding, 6 is receiver, and 7 is noise. So I mean, I think this is like so fascinating because communication, like, I don't know, we all learn how to communicate when we're just toddlers, right? That's when we begin talking. And who knew that like communication could be broken down into those components and that it could be more complicated than just talking. I don't know. I think it's fascinating.
You know, go ahead, Megan. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. So I was just thinking like of these 7 components, how interesting it is to first have the sender, and that's the person in which is giving the information or starting the communication, then the encoding, and it's how the information is packaged for the transmission, it says, then the message, which is what is meant to be sent, and the channel, and its medium used to transmit or send the message, and then decoding is how the message is interpreted, and the receiver, the audience of the message, and then the noise, any types of interference. And so that can, you know, these 7 components can be into anything as little as just me talking to you guys. You know, I'm sending you this message. Are you receiving it? Is there noise? Is there interference? Anyways, I think it's fascinating.
You know, I think that's wonderful. I love your... I love your perspective. Also, I wanted to kind of add that, that Megan, I think it was you that discussed the fact that we learned the ability to be able to communicate when we're toddlers. Well, that actually, we as babies, it's pretty fascinating because I have a 14-month-old, and I saw that we did this with my 7-year-old. I'm sorry, is that yeah, they may not have the children have the ability to be able to communicate. They don't have the ability to be able to form language. And so we took and had begun to teach our kids how to use sign language, and how amazing that their cognitive ability is to be able to understand sign language and to be able to repeat the signs back to you. And so when we say it, when we ask Isla for if she wants a drink, she she responds with the sign of the drink. And so if we ask her to say please, then she responds with a sign of please. So it's pretty fascinating that she's already auditory, it's already registered. It's just the inability to be able to communicate vocally. And so, yeah, I think that's part of the encoding property, that is, you got to be able to encode it and then decode it for them as well. And so it kind of just swings back and forth on that pendulum. It's pretty cool. All right. So did you guys get a chance to look at the public service announcement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Anybody want to discuss? Yeah, it is pretty crazy, isn't it? Anybody want to discuss the different components briefly?
Of which one?
Of the text and driving.
So we have to, it's practice for us for the assignment, because we have to do this for the assignment. You have to watch a television, radio, and a print ad, and identify the sender, the encoding message, channel, decoding, receiver, and noise. So,
I mean, I did the application activity. The thing that threw me off was that there wasn't an actual format for it like the other ones have. Did anyone else see that there wasn't a format?
I spent quite some time looking for one. I'm like, where is it? And I called my friend. She goes, yeah, I don't see it either. So we just created it on Word.
That's what I did as well, but I'm just I don't know. I just answered all the questions that I could. The one that I thought was interesting, I didn't necessarily go with the ad council with one of them, but the pedigree ads, the ones where they have Sarah Bareilles in the background singing in the arms of an angel, and they have all the sad pictures of dogs, and they're telling you to donate to the cause to save an animal's life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just sat there and I was I'm going to do this one as my television ad because, and I think my reasoning behind it and everything was the encoded message was just humor. It was humorous to me because I'm just they tug at your heartstrings. They play with your emotions.
They totally do.
Pedigree is the sender, and they're tugging at your heartstrings, and they're trying to get you to go save a dog's life in the shelter. That is their goal. They want you to do that and then buy their dog food.
Keep in mind who's in charge of the communication process. It's the marketing component of their company, and so that's what they're trained to do, is to be able to identify what they think is going to get the best feedback, and being able to play to one's emotions definitely engages the public a lot more.
And on that one I put noise on the bottom, and I was like, noise is changing the channel because you can't stand it.
Totally.
Definitely.
But I mean, I guess since there wasn't a format, I guess that was my question. I was did anyone find a format for it? Because I can't.
No, it's just knowing the 7 components and then being able to pick out the 7 components and then just write it up as a Word document.
Yeah,
Does it have to be lengthy, or can it just be a sentence?
I'll tell you what I did. For mine, I put PSA TV Crash Dummy Game Show, and I gave the link to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote, sender, U.S. Department of Transportation, encoding, crash dummies are the symbol being used to tell the message, wear your seatbelt always. I mean, I just did very straightforward and simple. Yeah.
I'll just do it.
Literally, this took me 15 minutes to bust out.
Good.
I feel like that's really pretty straightforward. I think that we should just be able to post a link and then underneath it do bullets. And so each one of the bullets, 7 bullets, and so just break down what you believe to be each aspect of the
I do feel
model.
like I was repeating myself over and over, like what the impact was. I'm like, I already talked about it up there, but it was under something else.
Right.
The last 3 questions we had to answer, I felt was very repetitive. But whatever. You just do it.
Nicole, how did you answer number 3 on the application activity? How did you answer number 3?
The one that asks.
Do you feel the message is decoded the same as when it was encoded?
All 3 of mine, I don't know. I gotta look at but like the first one, I did the crash test dummy one, and I said, I felt it was decoded the same way as it was encoded because they're using dummies to encode the message, and it is decoded by helping the receiver realize they are dumb if they do not wear the seatbelt.
Yeah.
So they're using dummies either way, insinuating,
Yeah.
So I said yes.
And to kind of elaborate, you got to, I would think that the encoding and decoding aspect, the encoding is pretty simple because it's the one perspective from the company, but the decoding to be applicable to, you got to think of who the audience is. And so in that case, that Nicole's saying, I think that the audience is the larger, the greater, society. But just think if the message is tapered down for a different population, or different sample size, then we have to be able to encode and we have to think about their perspective. So if you find something that's on, mass media, then of course the I think that the decoding aspect of it would be pretty straightforward. I think that if it was on a smaller target population, it may not be as straightforward.
Yeah, it's like with the. I put yes, but I put sometimes as also my answer. Like yes, but sometimes it can be a little bit like different because again with the pedigree ad, like everyone gets it like okay, it tugs at my heartstrings. I need to go adopt a dog from the shelter and save an animal's life. But some people that already have as many and they're like, well, what can I do differently? Well, they're like, oh, well, maybe if I spay and neuter my pet, that saves other animals from going to the shelter. And so everyone will look at it differently in a different aspect. And so that's what I thought was interesting is then like you have some of them that are straightforward, like the dummies in the crash test, like don't be dumb, wear your seatbelt, like, and the no bullying ads, like don't be dumb, go be a friend, don't be shy, like it's okay to be awkward in the beginning, but it's like those ones are pretty self-explanatory, but then you got like the hidden marketing ones as well that I was looking at, and I was like, okay, these ones can be decoded in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting. It was interesting to see how the marketing aspect of it gets involved with the communication of health, where you have the, like in the Toyota commercials, like they'll mention, go like here, look, here's the crash test for the Prius. It's perfectly fine. They're all the dummies are wearing their seatbelt, all the airbags engaged, like all the safety, and you're the time just wear your seatbelt. And then the second time, it's like, well, I need to go buy a Toyota because I need to have all the safety features.
Well, the thing is that I think about the fact that you're asking how the marketing is able to determine that. The same way that we determine how to teach our target population is that they have to do an accurate target population assessment to be able to determine what their level of learning is. And so that based on that research, that it's like when we have to do research for the program assessment, they do similar research for the marketing as well, because that's how they determine what's going to most successful, within a certain group or society. All right. So, do y'all want to discuss how the text messaging driving message? I'm sorry. How did the message change behavior?
No. Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Is anybody confused? Would you benefit from doing it, or?
So here's my question: is in the application like the instructions aren't as like self-explanatory. I feel like for me, like I have a hard time understanding them. So with I get the decoding, like the several ads, like the TV, the radio, and the and like the web ad, like we're supposed to do one of each. But are the bottom 3 questions, do we respond to those for all 3 of them?
Yes,
or is that
3.
Okay. I need to go back and finish it then.
So mine just goes like 1A through J, 2A through J, 3A through J is how I did mine. And
Okay.
each one, it has a letter underneath, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, I have mine as like A through 8 or A through whatever, and I have like the different segments, like sender, this is the sender, this is that. But I wasn't sure about the 3 questions. I don't know if that's like the bottom 3 where like you answer them generically, like with all 3 of these, like yes, it can be interpreted this way, and yes, and yes, and yes, like repetitive nature with the. But I guess I just need to go back and rephrase them for the other 2. But
yeah, it's really, you kind of have already answered your questions, so they should be fairly easy for you.
Are you sure?
To answer for all 3.
So I'm kind of curious about like identifying noise on the texting and driving ad video. What do you guys think would be the noise for that?
Well, the noise is the texting, right?
I thought it was like
interfering with the driving.
I thought the texting would be the text. In that case, the texting would be the message.
Yeah, I thought like noise is like the interference of you receiving the message.
Exactly. So we're talking about like background noise, like white noise. You know, like when you sleep, you have white noise that is just something that's on in the background, and you have I forget what the other noise is that is a little bit more prevalent that you identify as being able to impede your understanding or your hearing or your eating or whatever the case may be.
So the noise could be the distractions that are in the car.
Definitely.
Right?
But I mean, like
the car,
with
I'd have to go back and watch it again, but they were being loud in the car too.
Where did you guys find the video?
It's on the.
It's in the link to the relevance instructions.
Okay.
And so
also on the application activity underneath the ad council.
Okay.
And so
that's
also
what
I think that the noise can also be the individuals that are sending the text message, and she's trying to respond to in text, and so that could be the noise also.
Okay, so I guess I misunderstand noise because I thought it was like the interference of us receiving the message of the campaign of the like.
Megan, that's the way I thought of it as. Like with the web ads,
a variety of types of interference at any point during the process.
Okay.
So noise can be things that interrupt the sender, such as things going on in the background or things that distract the receiver. So texting could be a distraction. The noise in the car could be a distraction. Noise can also occur in the channels, such as a slow internet connection, static on the television, or dropped cell phone call. So like for us right now, the breaking up of our call is noise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the other thing with the web one too, I put as noise as like, because I watch most of my music on YouTube, and it's that stink and skip ad button. And that could be noise because you're right there, and then it comes, it's like, skip it. So then the noise is, okay, well, I think I got the gist of it, so I'll skip the ad. So,
yep.
I mean,
really, I see noise as anything that gets in the way.
And that's the way I took it as well. And I was just like, okay.
It doesn't have to be audible noise. It can be noises in multiple different forms.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I was trying to look.
What's that?
Nothing. I was trying. I think one of mine wasn't like audible, but I can't. I was just looking really fast. Oh, I used preoccupation as one of mine. I'm not good at making fun for noise on one of my things, my ads. So, yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I believe that is there any other further questions that we have about the health literacy and why it's important and the assignment or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think we're done.
All right. Well, I believe that we can conclude this meeting.
Ta-da.
This is
Meeting
a
is
great
adjourned.
way to end.
Who's the next group leader?
This is the
Awesome.
last
Thank you.
one.
This is it.
I haven't done it yet.
I don't.
Alright.
There wasn't enough meetings for everybody. I think our groups were just so large.
Wait, this was the last one?
This
This
is the
is
last
it.
one.
Oh.
That's
Yep.
kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Yeah.
Amberly, how are you feeling, by the way?
I'm doing okay. I just have a really bad headache
Still?
constantly
How did you get concussed?
from snowboarding.
Oh, classic.
Yeah,
Yikes.
but it's not too severe, so that's good.
That is good.
That is. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks,
All right,
guys,
team.
for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
luck.
Megan, will you
Thank
post the
you.
link?
Yep.
All right,
And
awesome. It was great working with y'all.
Alan,
too.
you're gonna do the submit our names, right?
Megan is.
I can do it.
Huh?
It's not.
You're
I
gonna do
Megan's
can
gonna
put it
do
in
it.
the same document. Yeah, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right, bye
All right,
guys. Y'all
good
have a
luck,
wonderful
everyone.
week.
Thank you.
Finish your semester
Bye.
strong.
Bye,
Guys.
guys.
Bye.